So up till now, we have really just been concentrating on making your film the traditional way, as a live action scene using actors. But you don't have to do this, and there are many other fun ways to make a film. The great thing about filmmaking is that it is a universal language, and you could easily take all of this and apply it to a totally different style of telling your story. First, you can stay in the real world of live action and tell a story using puppets, models, or miniatures. I tried this for my short film, The Wolf of Wall Street, which was a 60-second parody of Martin Scorsese's film made with nothing except hand puppets and cardboard sets. This was influenced by some parody sketches on a program called The Adam and Joe Show, made here in the UK, and to American audiences, I'd say Robot Chicken is fairly similar. This was so much fun because I could try and copy a big expensive film using almost no money. Your genre might play a big part here, and as this was a comedy spoof, a lot can be forgiven in terms of things looking cheap and homemade. The great thing about making a film on such a small scale is that you can often make these at home in whatever space you have. And instead of needing actors to appear on camera, it often just becomes voice acting, which again can be a lot of fun if you have some friends who can do some good voices. Even if you didn't want to do something as silly as this, you can still make a film on a smaller scale using any kind of miniature environment. You can see a lot of examples on my YouTube channel of experiments with models and miniatures, usually to attempt various cheap versions of Hollywood effects shots. Again, if you have an existing resource like a model railway, perhaps you can come up with an entire story that would work at a small scale. You might not even need human characters and may prefer to tell a story simply with vehicles or other types of characters, like Thomas the Tank Engine does very well using models. Next up, we have stop motion animation. Now, this is also usually a miniature art form, but it is a lot more time consuming and difficult. Stop motion is an animated filming technique in which a physical object is moved in small increments and photographed at every step. And when these images are edited together and played back at normal speed, the characters and objects in them appear to move on their own. Just like if you've ever drawn a flipbook and you flip through the pages. This is the process you can see in family films such as those made by Aardman, and other good examples are The Nightmare Before Christmas and Fantastic Mr. Fox. This is really a photography art form more than filming, and stop motion animation is incredibly tedious and difficult to produce, taking hours upon hours to move each character motion by motion. Normally you would combine 12 still photos to achieve 1 second of film, as the traditional 24 would be just too exhausting. So they usually do what cartoons do and settle for 12 frames per second instead. So this is a huge amount of work for a very quick result, and the biggest problem is accidentally knocking anything in between your photos, as this will destroy that illusion of smooth movement. If you are serious about stop motion, then the best method is to link your camera to a computer program such as Dragon Frame that will show you an overlay of your previous frame so you can see exactly the change you are making. Be prepared that this art form takes a great deal of time and patience, and I certainly don't have the patience for it. It is definitely not for everyone. But if you do have the patience and the talent to do it, it adds a wonderfully charming and handmade feel to your story. Then we leave physical filmmaking behind and come to other forms of animation. The traditional method is hand-drawn animations, such as you see in classic Disney films or Warner Brothers cartoons, and this was the dominant form until the rise of computer animation. It is less common in mainstream films today, although it is still used by some studios such as Ghibli in Japan. Again, this is a very time-consuming art form, but can achieve a wonderful result. Once again, this is basically combining images like a flipbook to give the illusion of movement. This is a bit easier today as there are programs to combine hand-drawn animation or even give a hand-drawn look to something that you would build within a computer. Then there is 3D animation, and the possibilities really here are endless. You might want to start learning a program such as Blender or Maya or Cinema 4D and create a whole story this way, and there is a lot online about learning how to do 3D animation. With all of the methods I'm outlining here, also don't forget that you can combine these methods together or combine one of them with live action. Nowadays, you don't just have to be limited to one scale or one medium. You might want to film real actors in front of a green screen as your foreground and use miniatures or animation to create the background. So something like this could give your project a really unique look. So hopefully this has shown you that there are lots of options out there for telling your story. You don't always need a huge space or a studio or lots of actors, and you might be able to come up with a more creative result at a small scale or even virtually. And if you're going to try any of these methods, then have fun and happy movie making.